So I restored a Mad Planets a while ago. The project itself is finished and it's in the arcade. It's up and running. The game looks fine. The cabinet looks great. Everything is done, but I still don't have the spinner for it. We've been waiting for the reproduction Wico spinners to be completed, and they finally have been. They've been shipped. So I'm going to drive up to see Dylan, who is the guy that I bought the project from back in 2025, to go and pick up one of the new Wico repro spinners so I can finally play the game. So Mad Planets, let's talk about it in a bit more detail. When I first had my collection back in sort of 2015 through 2017, Mad Planets was part of that lineup. Originally though, it was a kind of averagely restored Qubit cabinet. And what I wanted to do was basically just to take that cabinet, redo it with all of the Mad Planets cosmetics, and do a ROM swap, because essentially they use the same board, the same system. So that's what I did that time around. I used spray paint, roller paint, masking to do the graphics on the side. Actually, thinking back now, no, I think you know what I actually did was got the stencils from Rich, I believe, at This Old Game. So I did the paint job. I picked up all the artwork, did the conversion, and it worked out great. The difficult part was, of course, finding the spinner and the stick, but I did manage to do that. So the game itself, in the end, turned out real nice, but as we all know the story now, by the time 2017 came around, I had some personal issues come up in my life, and I had to sell off pretty much everything I had, just financial uncertainty. Anyway, getting back into the hobby at the end of 2025, I had a very specific list of titles that I wanted to put together again, because they were the games that I did miss playing from having them before. Mad Planets was absolutely one of those games. So I put a ad on the Clov collectors forums saying that I was looking for a Mad Planets. I didn't really specify a project or a full cabinet, and I knew that I wasn't just going to stumble on one on Craigslist in my local neighborhood, because they're a relatively rare game to find, and they are quite popular. So when they do pop up, they disappear quickly, and they usually go for a pretty substantial price. I think the last time I saw one sell, it was somewhere in the region of about $3,000 for a nice one. So I knew I was going to have to take it on the chin. Anyway, don't think anything much of it. I just leave the ad on there, and then a member of Clov reaches out to me over DM, and he tells me that he has been collecting pieces to do a full restore on a Mad Planets cabinet, an original proper Mad Planets cabinet from the factory that had been converted in the worst possible way into an Arkanoid. So obviously that was very interesting to me, but there's always the question of where is the machine and how am I going to get it to my humble little garage in my house. Turns out the guy lives 45 minutes away from me. Now, I don't know how that could happen. I thought I knew pretty much all of the collectors in our neighborhood around San Diego, but it just goes to show that just because you know people on Clov doesn't mean you know everyone around you who's actually active in the arcade community. Now, in this circumstance, it did turn out to be a Clov member, so that worked out really well. He sent me a bunch of pictures, and he had collected a substantial amount of stuff, including the joystick, the control panel overlays, bezel artwork. Obviously, he had the original cab. He had some repro harnesses, in fact, a complete repro harness. And he had intended to power it with the J-Rock board there, using the Milestar board. Yeah, I think that's what it's called, which plays, of course, Qubit, Mad Planets, and a few other of those games that run on that system hardware. So it looked great. It looked exactly what I was looking for. The cabinet was in a little bit of a rough looking way, not because it was beat up, but because it had these huge Romstar generic stickers slapped on top of that beautiful Mad Planets stencil work underneath. So I looked at that and thought, oh, okay, maybe I can get those off. If they damage the artwork underneath, then at least I've had some experience with doing the stencils and painting before, so I could go ahead and do that again if need be. So we agreed on a price, which seemed really fair considering how much he'd collected and put together. And not only did he agree to sell the project to me, but he was also generous enough to throw it in the back of his truck and drive it all the way down to my place in San Diego, which is, like I say, 45 minutes to an hour away from me. Really great gentleman, younger man. Just goes to show that isn't all old graying fossils like myself that are in this hobby. There are younger guys still getting into it and really appreciating the older stuff. So that kind of brings us to today. The machine is finished. I put everything together. I did all the stenciling. Actually, it was more masking. I managed to save the red and blue paint on the side of the cab and just blow in the black all around it after doing a little bit of wood repair. The Mad Planets cab is made of the compressed MDF board, so of course it's subject to the bloating and the puffing if it gets any kind of moisture around it. So that had to be addressed with wood hardener, soak it all in, and then sharpen up those edges, get some primer on it, and then finally, blast it over with the black paint. Wasn't perfect with the finish, but I kept as much of the original paint as I could, and it certainly turned the cab into something much more presentable, much more the type of standard that, at least that I like. I'm not a perfectionist, but I do like my cabs to look pretty clean in the lineup. That's a thing for me. So excited! I have a Mad Planets. It's running. Also, I didn't tell you guys, another member on the Cloth forums is creating these full reproduction board sets. So he builds the entire Gottlieb board set from scratch with brand new PCBs, brand new components, everything top to bottom is brand new. When I saw that, I thought, okay, I've got to do this. I had the opportunity to rip out original hardware back in the cabinet. Plus, I've got all the brand new wiring harness and everything. So this thing is going to be bulletproof. It's going to be like having a brand new, new out of the box Mad Planets with no issues around, power, old wiring, headers, all pins, all of the usual things that can take a game board down. So I went ahead and dropped the money for that and put that in too. So now we have a fully working machine. It's looking nice, it's looking great. The joystick is fantastic. It doesn't have any cracked shell on it. The grommet in the joystick is not dried out or cracked either. So I was also able to treat that with some spray silicone just to make sure it stays in that shape going forward. But I still can't play the game because it didn't have a spinner. Now, the Wico spinners are, of course, notoriously hard to find because they were only in a certain amount of machines. And they, I guess, over time probably crack and degrade too because they have sort of a large plastic shell. A member on the Cloth forums organized a full repro production of the Wico spinner. Now, we've been waiting on that for about a year. Sometimes these projects take a long time. They involve a lot of steps in the process. And a lot of the time, these people are doing these as a project, a passion project. It's not something they're doing full-time. It's not replacing their day job. So you really have to be patient and just let these people go through the process, do what they need to do, and just sit and wait. As long as you got your name on that list, in the end you'll get your part. So we waited a year for it. Dylan, the guy that sold me the project, already told me that he bought 2 spinners. He put his name down for 2, and he included one of them in the price that we agreed to when I got the cabinet from him. So it was just a matter of waiting. Well, the wait is finally over. The spinners did ship in late December, and Dylan received them. He sent me a message to let me know. He said, I can mail it down to you. He said, but if you want to come and swing by, then it might be worth your while doing that. and I was kind of interested to see what he meant by that comment. So decided to jump in the car. We're going to do a little road trip up to his place and go and pick up that last elusive part so I can finally have a working Mad Planets. Area Amusements has been servicing, repairing gear now in San Diego for like 60 years. These guys are in San Marcos. They've been hooking up bars, restaurants, collectors with pinball machines, classic arcade cabinets, jukeboxes for a long time. Family-owned business, solid crew. They do all the sales, installs, fixes, full-on restos, everything. Some people have been coming to this place for 20 years or so. Dylan was cool enough. He walked me around the shop and showed me some real nice restored classics. He wasn't really up for being on camera though. That's cool though, I get it. He still hooked me up with exactly what I came for. This sweet reproduction Wico spinner. We are back in the arcade now after yesterday's little road trip. That was really cool going up to Area Amusements and taking a look around, seeing the guys. Sweet place. We've got our Wico spinner. It's ready to go in the cab. So all we have to do now is install it. So let's do that. Okay, so we've installed our spinner, but we have a little bit of a problem with it. It turns in the opposite direction on the screen than the physical spinner itself. So we turn it clockwise, the ship goes anti-clockwise, and vice versa. Now this is the spinner interface board here. A little ribbon cable goes to the main board, and we've got a red and a black, which are going to be the 5 volts and the ground. And then here we have a purple and a blue wire. This is probably from the encoder. So what I'm going to do is swap these two around to see if that solves our direction problem. Okay, so we went ahead and we swapped those two pins around, so that should change the rotation for us now. So we're in our test screen where we can go into our switch test menu and we can make sure everything's working the way it should be. So let's go ahead and go clockwise, and there you go. It's going the right way now. So we solved that small issue. Let's just go ahead and make sure everything else is working while we're here. Player 1 start, player 2 start, fire, joystick, yep, everything looks good. I think we can actually play a game now. Okay, it's been a long time coming, but we're finally here at our first game of Mad Planets on our completely restored machine. So let's see how terrible I am at this game. Yeah. Ooh. Die, you big crazy planet. Oh, I'm getting a little overexcited. This is awesome. Oh man, I'm so happy to be back playing this again. What a game. I love it, love it, love it. Wah! Little spaceman! Get the little dudes! Yeah! Ah! So there it is, Mad Planets. Wow, I even got a score. I gotta put my initials in. Whoa. This joystick is very sensitive, but that's the way I want it. Good stuff. Okay, so there we have it, guys. Another game that we can call finished. Ready to go in the lineup so people can enjoy it anytime they come over to the arcade. If you've gotten this far through the video, thank you. I really appreciate it. It means a lot that people want to watch this stuff and see this crazy hobby. If you want to see more videos, just let me know down in the comments. Like, subscribe, and I'll do my best to keep them coming. All right, thanks. Bye.